Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. I hope you guys are having a good day so far. So in this video today we'll be building this JavaScript countdown timer in case you want to do a countdown to New Year 2022. So on our right hand side we have our final version of our project. So New Year is 289 days, 0 hours and 26 minutes and a few seconds from now. So let's get started. So I'll just get rid of all this code so we can start from scratch, and I'll just generate my boilerplate code, and in between my two body tags I'll create a container and I'll create 4 spans, put them on different lines, and this one will have a data text of day, and this will have an ID of days. This one I'll give it a data text of hour, and this will be hours, and then data text equals minute, ID equals minutes. So we're basically just creating our days, hours, minute, and seconds. And now we're done with our HTML. Let's get started with the JavaScript. And if you want to, you can even add in some NAs, which just sort of stands for nothing in programming. Sort of like null. So now we can actually see it appear on our screen, so we'll know that it's actually working. And now we can create our script tag, or you can create a JavaScript file if you want to, but I just like doing it this way. So I'll call a variable called countdownDate, and I'll set it to new date. Make sure you capitalize the D, and we'll set our date that we want it to count down to. So that will be January 1, and then a comma, and then the year, which is 2022, 12 in the morning. And then we can call an interval, and I'll name it current time, and I'll set it in a variable. So set interval, the function, and then how many milliseconds we want it to run. So I'll create a variable called new date dot get time. So that's going to get the current time, and we're going to do distance equals countdown date minus now. So it's going to subtract the countdown date, our current time, from the countdown date to see how much time left we have before the countdown date has expired. And then in here we can create a few more variables. So var days equals math.floor distance divided by 1000 milliseconds times 60, since there's 60 minutes in an hour and there's 60 seconds in a minute, so we're going to multiply by 60 again and multiply by 24 since there's 24 hours in a day. And we can wrap these in parentheses, and I'll do var hours equals math.floor parentheses distance modulus sign, which will just take the remainder of the result, and then 1000 and then times 60 times 60 times 24 and divided by 1000 times 60 times 60. Hopefully you guys understand what I just typed there. And then var minutes equals math.floor, another set of parentheses, and then distance divided by 1000 times 60, 1000 times 60 times 60 divided by another set of parentheses, and then 1000 times 60. And last one will be seconds. So var seconds equals math.floor distance modulus sign divided by 1000 times 60 divided by 1000. There's 1000 milliseconds in a second, and there's 60 seconds in a minute, so it's going to do 60,000 divided by 1000, which will give us the number of seconds. And we'll create a few more variables. This one will be var d equals document.get element by ID days, and do the same thing for the rest. document.getElement by ID minute. It should have been hour. I should have done hour first. And then var s equals document.get element by ID seconds. You know how most times if it's just one digit, then it's going to have a 0 in front of it. So that's how. So if days is less than 10, then we'll do days equals 0 plus days. So if days is less than 10, like if it's 9, if there's 9 days left, then it's going to have a 0 in front of the 9, so it will look like 09. And then another if statement for our hours. So if hours is less than 10, then we'll do hours equals, and I misspelled hours once again, plus hours. So this will be seconds equals 0 plus seconds. If minutes is less than 10, then we'll do minutes equals 0 plus minute. And then we'll do d.innerHTML equals days. So d, this is just the HTML element, and we're going to set its inner HTML to whatever the value of this is. So h.innerHTML equals, you guessed it, hours. m.innerHTML equals minutes. s.innerHTML equals seconds. Okay, now once we're done with that, we can start applying some CSS styles to our countdown timer so that it doesn't look so boring and dull. So the first thing I'll style is my browser. So I'll give it a background color of hashtag 222. And then for my span, I'll just do position relative, top 43%, left 27%. We'll just do line height 100 VH. And then we'll increase the font size to 5 rem, which is about 80 pixels. And the font family will be Gil Sans, just like that. Background will be RGB 19600. So it's basically red with an opacity color white, so that contrasts much better on the red background. Padding 10 pixels, margin 10 pixels, opacity 0.9, so that it's not as clear, it'll be more translucent. And then letter spacing 10 pixels. And I know you're probably going to say these aren't letters, but our browser interprets these numbers as letters, even though they're really numbers. I'll do span hover. When you hover over it, the opacity will go back to 1. And then span after. The content will be ATTR, which just stands for attribute, and the attribute which I gave for each span is data text. So now it's going to appear right after it, right after the number, but we don't want that, so we can do position absolute, top -170 pixels, left 0, width 100%, height 100%, font size 1.7 rem, text align center so that it's not to the side. And then we can do text transform uppercase, so it will uppercase all of the letters. And then letter spacing once again will be 3 pixels. And we can do hashtag days, and we'll give this a background color of cyan, and the color will be green. So this is going to be the odd one out. It's going to be different from the rest. But I don't really like green, so let's change it to yellow. Let's change it to yellow. And then make this black. Make the font weight bold. Actually, let's make everything bold. So we can go up here and do font weight bold. And now we don't even need this because it's automatically applying it to that. And this is it for the video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again in my next video.